Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my November 2024 TBR. We have 2 months left in the year, so I'm wrapping a bunch of stuff up, continuing a bunch of stuff, and starting some new stuff. And I am really excited for the month of November because I have just some really great anticipated reads for you. I have 4 new releases, well, really 2, but 4 new releases, and then 6 older released books. So basically, it's 10 books on the TBR this month, and there are some really short books, and there's a really long book as well. So without further ado, let's start with the new releases. The first new release is I will say the reason I said 4, but really 2 new releases is 2 of the new releases are coming out in November. And then 2 of them came out just a few months ago, but I'm just now getting to them. But since they came out this year in 2024, I'm counting them as a new release. So, the first new release I'm planning to read is Strange New Worlds Asylum, which by the time this video comes out, I will have already read because I'm interviewing the author, Una McCormick, for Literary Treks. And so I have to read this before I interview her. But this is the second Strange New Worlds hardcover book. The first book by John Jackson Miller came out in 2023. I loved that book, and I'm really excited to read Asylum by Una McCormick, and it is a very short read. Not only is it 300 pages, it's actually fairly large print, so should be a nice, quick, fun read. I don't care for the show Strange New Worlds, but I really enjoy the books. Then I also have a new science fiction original book titled Men of Breton, A Dream of Home by Richard Fox. Richard Fox does a lot of collaborations with David Weber. He also writes original science fiction stuff. I was sent this arc by Baen Books earlier this year, and I thought, you know what, this book seems interesting. It's really short. It's only about 250 pages. So I'll read it and give it a try, see if I like this book. The last Richard Fox book I didn't love, but I think he has a chance to surprise me. So that is Men of Britain, which I'm really excited to read. I also have The Blood-Dimmed Tide by Stephen Arion. This book came out a few months ago, I think in like June or July. It is the second book in the Falcon and the Nightingale and the Falcons trilogy. I read the first book back in September. Oh my goodness, that was an amazing book. And the second book I used points to buy. It wasn't in any of my local bookstores or used or new, whatever, because it's brand new. But I had some points from some rewards from Barnes & Noble that I had banked up through Christmas shopping, which I did in October. And so I bought the book, and I'm really excited to get to it. And book 3 comes out next May, so I will be reading that the day it comes out, because I loved the first book that much. The first book is basically a historical fiction that has a tiny bit of fantasy in it, but it's basically about the Mongolian Empire and the Khan dynasty, which I just loved. I just loved the first book, so I'm so excited to get to this one. I also have my final new release, also came out a couple months ago, but I'm getting to it now, and that is Time Marked Warlock by Shami Stovall. It is the first book in a new series she's written. This was actually a self-published book, but it has a great cover art by Chris McGrath, who also did the cover art for like the Jim Butcher books and the James J. Butcher books, and he does a lot of kind of urban fantasy cover art. Oh, he also did the Mistborn, my edition of Mistborn that I have, and Shami sent me the book, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make that my indie read of the month. So I'm excited to read this book and see if it is enjoyable or not. Shami is a delightful person, and her comics that I read online that she makes, her cartoons, are hilarious and delightful. So I'm hoping I enjoy this. Again, another pretty short read. I told you I stacked up a bunch of short reads because I have a really long read. So going away from new releases into older release books, I have Ken Follett's A Column of Fire. I read his first 2 books in his Kingsbridge series. You have Pillars of the Earth and A World Without End, which are 2 of my favorite books I read this year. And I am so hopeful. I disagree with Ken Follett on so much in life. And I also dislike so much about what he writes. but I'm so compelled by his books. They're so good. They're so compelling. They're so enjoyable. So I am just really excited for this. It's like 900 pages long. Yeah, it's about 900 pages. So it's a long book, but I will probably breeze through it. I am not kidding. The other two books were 1,000 pages, and I read them in 3 days each. And I'm not joking about that. I was so hooked. So I'm probably planning to read this around Thanksgiving when I have the week of Thanksgiving off, and I'm just gonna plow through it. And I'm so excited to get to this book. I love this series. All right. I'm finishing a few series right now. The Republic Commando series I started a couple months ago. Actually, I should rephrase that. I started this series 5 years ago. I read the first 2 books, and I just put off the rest of the series for the last 5 years. And then, about 2 months ago, I said, hey, I want to pick it up. So I picked up the 3rd book, True Colors. Really enjoyed that. And then I'm reading the 4th book, Order 66, in October. And so in November, I'll be reading the final book, Imperial Commando, 501st, which I'm really excited to get to. Karen Traviss is a very controversial author for Star Wars, but continuing my expanded universe read along and continuing my plan to finish the expanded universe soon. So I have that one. That's not the only series I'm finishing, though. I'm also finishing the Fablehaven series with the 5th book, Keys to the Demon Prison. I'm loving the Fablehaven series. I've been reading that for the last 4 months. Book 4 I'll read in October. Book 5 I will get to in November, and I'm just so excited. This is such a great series. I'm actually kind of scared about that kind of cover, and Brandon Mull, he deals with some pretty heavy stuff in his kids' books. But I'm loving the series so far. It is the perfect amalgamation of Harry Potter and Narnia. It is the perfect blend of those two storytelling styles. So if you like those two, you'll love this series. And I'm really excited. This one's a bit longer. It's about 600 pages, but I think I'll really enjoy it. I told you I had another short book. I have a really short book. Then if this takes me longer than a day to read, I'm going to be mad at myself. And I have the novelization of Hook, which has a terrible cover because it makes it look like the title is The Druid of Shannara Hook. But no, it's saying the best-selling author of The Druid of Shannara comes the book Hook from Terry Brooks, based on a screenplay by Jim V. Hart and Malia Scotch Marmo, and a screenplay by Jim V. Hart and Nick Castle. And I am reading this because I want to have read all of Terry Brooks' books, and I only have a few left. I also am reading this because I have not done a novelization in so long, and my friends over at Paper Movies, Matthew in particular, is really probably wondering why I haven't read any novelizations in a while. So Matthew, got a novelization for you, and this one is really short. It's barely 200 pages. This will be like a one-day read, so I'm excited to read that. I also have the 3rd Halo book, Halo First Strike by Eric Nyland. And I read the first book back in January, and I loved it. It was a great book. Great book, just one of the best tie-in books of the year. And then I read the second book a couple months ago in either August or September. I didn't really care for the second one at all. But the 3rd book goes back to being written by Eric Nyland. It's not a novelization of the games, so I actually think I'm going to really enjoy this one. So I'm really excited and eager to get to this one. It's got some small print, but it's only 300 pages, so it should be a quick read. And you know I'm not going to leave off one of my favorite new authors, Ben Bova, his book Saturn. I'm going to read another book I read in October. I read Standalone Farside. Before that, I read the Jupiter books and the Mars books. Now I'm working through the Saturn books. So we have Saturn, and the second book is Titan. I'll read Titan in December. But I'm excited to read these because Ben Bova is one of my favorite authors of all time. So this one's about not even 500, it's like 470 pages, but I breezed through Ben Bova books. So I'm really excited to read this. So that is my November TBR. Got a wide variety of genres, tie-in genres, novelizations, historical fiction, fantasy. I've got science fiction. I've got urban fantasy. I've got all of it. And so if you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below which one you've read. And are the new releases, have you read any of them? Are you excited about any of them? Let me know those thoughts as well. And until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.